watching every night. Thank you. You're welcome.
Jefferson County 911.
Yes, I am a teacher at Columbine High School. There is a student here with a gun. He has shot out a window.
Okay, has anybody been injured, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the school is in a panic, and I'm in the library. I've got students down under the tables, kids. Heads under the tables. I saw a student outside. I was in hall duty. Oh, dear God. Okay, I was on hall duty. I saw a gun. I said, what's going on out there? And he turned the gun straight at us and shot. And my God, the window went out. And the kid standing there with me, I think he got hit.
We've got help on the way, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Stay on the line with me.
Oh, God.
It was the morning of April 20th, 1999. It was a normal day in America. Farmers start their chores, parents wake up their kids to go to school. Two high schoolers prepare for their historical massacre. These two teenagers were named Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. They were part of a group called the Trenchcoat Mafia. This historical event that they've been planning for since sophomore year was a high school shooting called Columbine. The dreadful Columbine shooting changed the way that schools handle threats by precautions such as door locks, security checks, and realistic drills. It's the story of our times. Someone walks into a public place, armed with a gun, motivated by hate, by hurt, and starts shooting. They came not to kill a specific person or persons, but to stage a dark and warped act of terror. They don't care about the people who acquire their hatred or their beloved ones. They only care about making a stand. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold were both affected by bullying before the massacre. April 20th was planned as a suicide mission driven by indiscriminate hate and was intended to wipe out most of their suburban school. They didn't go to the police station, they didn't go to a movie theater. They went to their school because they hated it so much. They hated the injustice, they hated the environment of this school. Their hatred was boundless, often ludicrous. In Eric's journal, which he only wrote in occasionally because of anger management, it's described that both Eric and Dylan hated the world. As said in one of Eric's journals, "Kill mankind. No one should survive. We all live in lies." During the hatred on the world, both seniors started studying the art of making time bombs. The art of time bombs would help them create a massacre at their beloved school. So what really happened on the day of April 20th? It was the morning of April 20th, and both teens were a few minutes away from the school. NBK came quick. Everything that I see and hear somehow relates to NBK now. It feels like a movie sometimes, said from Eric's journal. NBK was the code name for the upcoming massacre. It stands for Natural Born Killers, a movie they both admired. Arriving at the school, both placed two timed propane tank bombs underneath two tables in the middle of the lunchroom. They were set off to go at 11:17 a.m., the highest peak of the lunchroom hour. Before the massacre, the teens' plans were to have the two bombs go off in the lunchroom, and then they would come in and finish off the extras. It was about 11:18 and the bombs never went off. So Eric and Dylan started their killing spree a little bit differently. They shot and killed a few students outside, and then they finally moved on inside. To repeat, Eric and Dylan weren't going for any specific group or people. They just went for the ones who were there open to hit. By now, most of the students were trying to get to cover because the teachers and staff finally realized that this was a real event that was happening. With hitting and killing a few students along the way through halls in the cafeteria, the students moved to higher ground, the library. The library was full of students hiding under desks, trying to take cover from the killers. A teacher in the library was actually on a 911 call with one of the emergency dispatch operators.
Okay,
I don't know, I didn't. I said, what is that kid got? He was outside at the time. And I was on call duty. Oh, God. And he was crying, he was like, woo, woo, woo.
I know.
Things are being shut off. I do not know who the student was. I don't even think I saw him, but he was wearing black. He didn't look very large. Male student. He was out there shooting. It looked like he was playing out and shooting. And somebody, I said, what is that? I said, what's going on? I said, this wiretap thing. Totally the video production. You know, they do these videos.
Right.
And the kids, I said, well, that's not, a playground, a real gun. I was going out there to say no.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, what? Oh my God, that was really close. That just,
Okay. What's your name, ma'am? Patty?
Yelling everybody get up right now. He's in the library. He's telling everybody get up right now.
Okay.
He's in the library. I have him in the library shooting at students to the lady that I have in the library on the phone.
Okay, try and keep as many people down as we can.
After a few minutes of whining and crying students, the shooters started killing most of the kids underneath the tables. After leaving the scene, they threw bombs that only injured a few students. Next, Eric and Dylan went back to the cafeteria and started shooting at the 2 propane tanks that never went off. The reason for this was to make more damage to the school itself. During the whole massacre, all officers were outside trying to do their best to secure the perimeter and to help escort injured students. But the most surprising thing the officers never did was go in and actually challenge the shooters. One of the only things they did was shoot from the outside of the school, which could actually lead into more danger for the students. Also, the library doors were wide open, and the officers were just listening to these kids suffering, and more likely being killed. It was an hour later from the beginning of the shooting. Eric and Dylan had killed 12 students, 1 teacher, and had injured over 23 others before taking their own lives. During the autopsies on both shooters, Eric had drugs in him, while Dylan did not. The impacts of this massacre definitely left a historical mark on the world. This shooting was actually the first ever high school shooting, and because of it, there have been over 270 shootings of all kind since then. The Columbine shooting also left schools with an image of them having to buy weapons to protect themselves. It left schools being more protective when they see something or someone that is out of the odd. And it also left them having to do more realistic drills like lockdowns, lockouts, and even starting active shooting drills. Columbine was a great historical massacre and was the opening to a new world.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves